from the story guide. The killer whale pod's first ever defeat. Once there lived a group of seals with all different types and shapes and sizes. They all lived in the Antarctic and loved playing together. But they had a big problem: killer whales. Whenever they would dive into the cold Antarctic waters, a hungry pod of killer whales would soon appear to hunt them, for they had found the seals' home near the ice. Sometimes they caught some of the seals and would eat them. The seals were getting very afraid to even enter the water and swim because of this. It was becoming very hard for them to even hunt fish because the killer whales were so dangerous. And so the seals would often go hungry and hide on the ice, sharing the few fish they had caught with each other, away from the dangerous killer whales. But after they ran out of fish, they would always have to enter the water again. They would send one or two of their fastest swimmers, so that not everyone would be in danger from the killer whales, and they might be able to escape. But the killer whales were the fastest swimmers in the sea. The killer whale pod would get angry when the seals would hide on the ice, and they would go after other fish to eat them instead. Because of this, all the sea creatures were terrified of the killer whales, for no animal was able to fight against them and win. They were so powerful and clever, they could even hunt sharks, octopuses, colossal squid, and other whales that were bigger than themselves. One day all the seals gathered together to make a plan. "We can't go on like this," one said. "Every time we go out to fish, the killer whales eat us. Isn't there something we can do to stop them?" "They're too strong and too clever," another seal said. "Bigger than us and very smart. What can seals do against something like that?" "Don't lose hope," a huge elephant seal said. "We have many seals here today. We can work together to stop them. Remember, we are all different seals. Some of us are fast swimmers. Some are clever. Some are good hunters. And some, like me, are big and powerful. A killer whale on its own would never dare to attack a group of elephant seals because of our size, power, and sharp teeth. And so I think that we should make a plan." "What sort of plan?" a harp seal said. The elephant seal smiled. "We will trap them so they can never hurt another animal again." "Trap them?" a grey seal laughed. "They're so big and powerful, they'll break any trap you put them in. And they're too clever to fall for any trap in the first place," a ringed seal added. "And none of us could lure them into a trap without getting eaten. They're quicker than any seal in water, and stronger than the toughest elephant seals." "That's certainly true," the elephant seal said. "But there's more of us than them. They are 3 killer whales, and we are hundreds of seals. If we work together, we can stop them, but you have to be willing to follow my lead. My plan is to work with the cleverest seals here, who have bigger brains than me. We can find the perfect place to trap them and make a plan for how to do it." "Forget it, you big fat seal," many of them cried angrily. "You'll get us all eaten. We don't want to end up in those huge killer whale bellies." With that, many of them swam away on their smooth, plump bellies, far away onto the ice where they were safe from the killer whales. But even though many hundreds of seals left because of their fear of the killer whales, there were still hundreds that stayed to help the elephant seal make a plan. "Everyone follow me to the meeting hall," the elephant seal shouted. The meeting hall was a huge ice cave far up on the ice sheets, and they could talk there without anyone hearing them. "Clever seals, please come to me," the elephant seal thundered. A group of grey seals started slithering towards him. They talked in whispers for a long time, and at last a plan was formed that made them all smile. "Listen up," the elephant seal cried. "We all know that the killer whales are stronger, cleverer, quicker, and better hunters than we are, and they have never been beaten before. But we have many more seals, and each of us are good at something. We have clever grey seals. We have fierce hunter leopard seals. We have fast fur seals, and we have me and my family, the mighty elephant seals. If we truly work as a team to beat them, I believe we can do it. Who's with me?" "We are with you," the seals cried. "It's about time we taught those bullies a lesson." "Thank you all," the elephant seal replied. "And now listen up, for here is how we will catch ourselves 3 killer whales." Meanwhile, the pod of killer whales was swimming along in the deep dark ocean looking for fish to catch. Their favorite food, seals, were hiding again, and this made them very angry, but because the seals could walk on land, they couldn't do anything about it. They just had to wait until the seals went hunting again, for the seals also needed to eat fish. The killer whales could always catch fish who couldn't walk on land, and so they always hunted them when the seals were hiding. But today they couldn't find any fish at all. The fish were small and fast, and would often hide when they heard the killer whales approaching. "This is getting ridiculous," one said. "We should be hunting big fish anyway. What good are small fish that will barely satisfy our hunger?" "You're right," another said. "But what can we do? Those pesky seals are on the ice, and the only way we can get them is by beaching ourselves, which would kill us." "Wait, what's that?" one cried. "I think I see a seal swimming over there in the distance. Could it be one of their hunters out looking for fish?" The killer whales began to chase the seal excitedly, using their immense speed. The seal was one of the fur seals, who was trying to get them to chase him. "Quick, don't let it get away!" a killer whale shouted with excitement. They chased the seal, and suddenly more seals started to appear, so that they weren't sure who to chase anymore. Just as the killer whales were about to catch the quick fur seals, there was a series of clicking and whistling from behind some rocks. These sounds came from the clever grey seals, who were telling the leopard seal hunters now was the right moment to attack. A big group of large leopard seals leapt out from behind the rocks and started nipping and biting the killer whale's black and white skin, darting about to avoid their big teeth. The killer whales were confused for a few seconds, but once they recovered, they smacked the leopard seals with their huge tails, sending them flying. The leopard seals quickly swam away, feeling dizzy. Meanwhile, the fur seals had swam up and escaped onto the ice sheets above. The killer whales chased the leopard seals and almost caught them, until something caught their eyes and distracted them. A group of grey seals that looked young and stupid were swimming slowly beside a huge ice wall. The killer whales were starting to get angry. "They're planning something," one said. "But what?" Clever as they were, their prey had never before tried something like this with them. They had never been brave enough to dare trying anything like it. Looking around, they realized the leopard seals had escaped. They roared and charged at the grey seals instead, hoping they were as stupid as they looked. But unfortunately for the killer whales, it had been a trap after all, which they now realized. Before they could catch the grey seals, they had disappeared inside a maze of ice tunnels that the clever seals had explored earlier that day. The killer whales now knew that it had been a trap to lure them inside the ice tunnels. One poked his nose inside before slowly backing out again. But the seals had thought this might happen, that the killer whales might not go inside. which is why they had chosen the very biggest elephant seals to hide nearby. In a sudden dash, about 30 of them dived up from the deep ocean below and slammed into the killer whales with their huge bodies, trying to push them inside the tunnels. There was a mighty struggle as the killer whales desperately tried to escape the ice tunnels, and the elephant seals used their huge weight to force them inside. With one final mighty push, they shoved the killer whales inside the ice tunnels, and then they escaped to the ice above. The killer whales tried to turn back, but it was hard as the tunnels were so narrow. Just then, they heard clicks and whistles echoing from deeper in the tunnels. Could it be other killer whales? No, it was those pesky seals taunting them. "Let's catch them," roared one. They squeezed down the tunnels slowly, each killer whale chasing one of the seals. As they swam further into the tunnels, the narrower it got. Finally, they spotted the seals swimming towards dead ends with solid ice blocking the paths. "We've got you pesky seals now. You thought you could trick us, huh?" they shouted. But just as the killer whales were close enough to bite the grey seals, the seals escaped by slipping through small holes in the ice, just big enough for a seal or other small creature, certainly not big enough to fit an enormous killer whale. And the tunnels suddenly got too narrow to even move. The whales were trapped against the hard, cold walls of ice. "Friends, can you hear me?" one called to the other killer whales. His voice echoed loudly in the tunnels. "We can hear you," one cried back. "We've been tricked. They got us. I can't believe it. This has never happened before." Meanwhile, up above on the ice, the clever grey seals had just joined the rest of the seals who had escaped their dangerous enemies, now trapped beneath the ice. "Hip, hip!" boomed the elephant seal. "Hooray!" the other seals bellowed, shaking the ice with their voices. "Hip, hip! Hooray!" They all paused, now unsure what to do. Elephant seal? What should we do with the killer whales? If we leave them in the ice, they'll surely die from no air, or they'll cut themselves on the sharp ice trying to escape." The elephant seal thought for a moment. He hadn't thought this far ahead. He hadn't even been sure if his plan, helped a lot by the clever seals, would work. He called the clever seals over again to talk about the problem. They had never wanted to hurt the killer whales, just protect themselves from them. "So what can we do?" one seal asked. They all thought for a while. Then one said, "Why don't we just go and talk to them? They can't eat us. Maybe we can make a deal." Everyone agreed that it was a good idea, and as they couldn't think of anything else, the elephant seal and 2 grey seals swam down to talk to their enemy killer whales. The killer whales had tried to escape through the small holes in the ice and had all got stuck. They were now in danger of running out of air, and the sharp ice had started to scratch their soft skin. When they saw the seals, they bared their teeth in anger. "Arr, you tricksters! Let us out!" they cried. "We want to help you," the elephant seal boomed, "but you have to promise you'll never hunt us again, nor any of our fishy friends. Do we have a deal?" The killer whales were surprised. They thought the seals would laugh at them and leave them trapped, but instead all they wanted was to be safe, and then they would free them. They discussed amongst themselves using clicks and whistles. "Fine, we agree to your terms, brave, clever seals," they said. "But let us out quickly before we die." The seals agreed and started to headbutt the ice near the killer whales to break it and free them. Then they all swam up together to the surface, where the killer whales blew spray out of their blowholes and sucked in fresh air. After they had recovered and rested for a while, they turned to the seals again. "We have never been defeated before by any animal or sea creature," they declared. It truly takes a clever bunch to trick us. We thought we were the cleverest ones around." "You are still the cleverest," the elephant seal said. "But with many seals working together, we can also be clever enough to fool you, maybe once or twice." "Indeed," the killer whales replied. "We see now that we were wrong to hunt you for food. We thought you were stupid and only good for food. But you've shown us that we can respect all animals and show kindness wherever we can. So from this day on, we'll never hunt seals or fish or any other harmless sea creature ever again." The seals all cheered now that they were finally safe, but a small seal called Bob scratched his head with a long flipper. "But what will you eat then, killer whales?" he asked. "Actually, that's a good point," one replied. "We won't have any food if we don't eat meat, and killer whales' natural diet is to eat only meat." Everyone groaned now that they realized their problems weren't yet over. "Come on, don't give up now," the elephant seal said. "There are hundreds of us here. Surely one of us can think of an idea to help them find some food." After a few minutes, it was the elephant seal himself who had an idea. "Why don't you try to hunt the mean animals that always try to scare and eat the smaller, weaker fish, like sharks, giant squids, and octopuses? It shouldn't be hard for the greatest hunters in the ocean," he said. "And it will help protect the other sea creatures like us, and provide you with a nice big lunch." Now the whales were excited. "That's a great idea," they all cried. "Thank you, family of seals, once again, for helping us learn kindness towards other creatures, and for finding us another source of food." So from that day on, the ocean was a much happier place. Whenever sharks, giant squid, and octopuses were being mean to the other creatures and trying to eat them, the killer whale pod wouldn't be far behind to catch them and eat a nice dinner. And so everyone lived happily ever after in the cold, icy waters of the Antarctic. And the seals and killer whales became lifelong friends from that day on. The end. Thanks for watching. If you like this cold ocean adventure, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. See you next time.